FM 98.9.
Feeling peckish? Maybe you fancy a bite to eat or a quick dessert, but not really sure what to choose? Enter the Carib Eats app. We've got menus for more than 100 restaurants and with fast delivery service anywhere on St. Kitts and Nevis. Carib Eats. Download the app or go to caribeats.com and satisfy that hunger.
You got food all over. You got the food all over.
It's the start of the week. It's time for a new perspective. It's time for Unfiltered. Join Azard Gumbs, lawyer and deputy leader of the People's Action Movement, for raw and unfiltered political analysis of the current events in St. Kitts and Nevis. Tune in every Sunday evening from 7:30 p.m. on WinFM. Join Azard Gumbs as he breaks the mantle and cuts through the unfiltered political noise to bring you the facts. Unfiltered every Sunday evening on WinFM 98.9.
to everybody. Welcome to the 6th episode of Unfiltered. I am your host, Azard Gumbs, and with me in the studio is Troy Flanders. Troy has been a candidate of the People's Action Movement. He ran in the election in 2022, and we are proud to have him here on Unfiltered. He's the first guest for the program so far. And so we are here going to have a conversation. You know, we want it to be unfiltered. We're going to be talking about the state of our federation under the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. So far, it has not been going well. In fact, persons are saying that the poor can take no more. They are saying that, Captain, this ship is sinking. The seas are rough. When we look at what is happening, Troy, in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis since the Labour Party took office, persons are not satisfied. I don't know what your view is on it, but you could share it with the audience here.
Thank you, Azard, for the opportunity. Good night to all your listeners. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on this popular program, you know. This hard-hitting program.
Yes.
Yeah, the question you asked, what is my view? To some people it might be a biased view, but I will say we have St. Kitts and Nevis has gone back maybe 5-7 years backwards.
Yes. And a lot of persons are concerned, a lot of persons are saying that the Labour administration, they are filled with promises with no real sign of progression. In fact, many of the things that they have promised have not come into fruition. In fact, many of the things that they said that they're going to do, they have not been done.
That's the Labour Party, you know. That's how the Labour Party operate. When you see election close, you're going to see the Labour Party start with what they call,
they're going to come with all sorts of things. We know, Troy, trust me, not because I'm younger than you. We know that they're going to come with all sorts of...
They call it gimmicks.
Yes.
They'll come with the gimmicks.
And tricks.
And the feel-good attitude.
Mm-hmm.
But after the election, the people of this federation will left to suffer. Because
Yes.
that's Labour. That's how Labour operate. The Labour Party cannot govern. They have never proved that they are very good at governing.
You know what they're good at, though? They're good at marketing to win an election.
Yes.
After they win the election based on their marketing,
Yeah.
it's like, that's it.
Yeah.
Nothing else can be done.
That's why I just say when Labour, when the people lose.
Mm-hmm. And we all are feeling the loss right now. When you look at persons on the street, Troy, persons are coming to me daily. Sometimes I don't even have to start the question. I don't know if they associate me with the People's Action Movement, but persons just start the conversation saying things ain't going well. Things are just not good. You understand?
And you know, some people themselves, they know things are going well, they're free to speak. So they look at you as someone who says, okay, Azard will be the voice for me. So I will tell Azard, he going to echo it.
Because there are a lot of persons, because of the real threats of victimization, and we know that is real, and we've heard them talk about putting away phones and not putting certain opinions, you know, and of course we're not saying that freedom of expression doesn't come with its own limitations, but if persons honestly believe that the party that is in power now, the Labour Party, is not performing as it ought to, then they have a right to voice that opinion. And many persons are saying that this Labour administration is by far the worst they have seen in the history of St. Kitts and Nevis. They are saying that they even prefer the Douglas-led Labour than the Jew-led Labour now. In fact, many persons are saying that there is constant infighting in the Labour Party.
You could see the evidence of that, you know. Look, for instance, the people of constituency number 6. Most people say that's the backbone of Labour, right? And since the last election, there haven't been one thing delivered to the people of constituency number 6.
Well, Troy, I want to say, right, that perhaps it's not just particular to the people of number 6, because the people of number 4 are still waiting for a lot of things to be happening. The people of number 4, constituency number 4, when it comes to the infrastructure and speaking to the people there in constituency number 4, they are concerned about the roads. And what gets me a bit frustrated is that when you speak about the roads, there are some persons who like to apologize for lazy governments.
Yeah.
You understand? Lazy representatives, lazy representation. There are persons who like to apologize for it. And so they might say, well, the road ain't a big deal. But you cannot tell me the persons who live in those houses, the persons who have to use that road, that their concern is not valid. If they are saying that their concern is the road, the condition of the road, then it is for the representative to take those concerns to wherever he needs to take it to rectify the problem. It's as though and I said, when it comes to politics, we cannot assume what the people want. Sometimes persons go into politics, they're trying to make plans, not even listening to the people. And this Labour administration, currently, they're not listening to the people.
Oh, they're going to be listening to the people when they spend more time up there.
And that is another thing, Troy. They are more visitors than representatives. They are tourists. They are a visiting government.
Yeah.
They visit the country. You understand? And so a lot of the goals that they say that they're going to accomplish, it's not done.
Right.
Because they are more out than in.
Mm-hmm.
They are more concerned about traveling out than to stay in.
Yeah.
And so the people of St. Kitts and Nevis are left to suffer.
But when they stay, they go face the people. And people are running from.
And I believe that is one of the
It's
reasons.
the people that they're running from. They don't want to face the people knowing that they are not capable of delivering for them.
That is true.
They are not capable.
Yes. And the technician, if he's the image number 1, the People's Action Movement held a pop-up public meeting. A pop-up public meeting at the ferry terminal on Friday, the Friday that just passed. The People's Action Movement was present. In the persons of the speakers were the political leader, Mrs. Natasha Gray Brooks, myself as deputy leader, Lincoln Pell as deputy leader, and of course Troy Flanders, who was the past representative candidate for the People's Action Movement in constituency number 6 for the 2022 election. And Troy, we spoke about what is happening there.
Yeah.
We spoke a lot about the issues that people here in St. Kitts and Nevis are facing.
And that meeting was well received,
Mm-hmm.
People asked for the People's Action Movement to be out there, and we listened to them, and we answered to their call.
You know what I liked? Persons were coming from the ferry terminal, and rather than just coming off the boat and getting into vehicles, many of them stood. They took pictures and videos.
Yeah.
And they were part of, as we presented, they were part of the audience that stayed and mingled and looked at what was being said. And I really think that that's significant.
Yeah. And I know that those guys in authority, they listen to the meeting too. So
in fact, you had some popular catchphrases. You said that the country, what you said, it tighter than clothespin on a line. I mean, you are.
They're squeezing the people.
Yes, yes. I mean, we make light of it by making it humorous, but it's really a serious situation.
Yeah.
Because right now, what we have is an administration that does not know how to govern, and an administration that does not know how to fulfill its promises.
But I think if you're a minister and you're a rookie, you will look some advisors with experience and so. So if you himself take a look at the advisors for the government, you'll understand why we are in the state that we are in.
The advisors clearly are not suitable to advise them in matters of national interest as relates to national security, as relates to finance, as relates to a number of things that we are seeing that are not happening as promised.
It's a bunch of square pegs in round holes.
They basically took persons who will have supported them in the last election, persons who will have sworn their loyalty to them, and just threw them in to be advisors, rather than looking at what the country needs and who can deliver based on their experience, based on their expertise, the mandate that was presented by the Labour administration to the people. Clearly, they are in the game of just talking whatever they need to talk to ensure that they're in office. So if it means saying that they're going to increase the PAP from the $500 to the $1,500, they're going to talk.
I don't say believe them by now what they were saying, you know. Maybe somebody give them something. I say that.
But you know,
because you could see no conviction in the people. Azard.
that's strange, you know, because I often say that they go away on these conferences.
Yeah.
They hear fancy words, fancy jargon, and they come back with it. They say, boy, these people are saying St. Nevis, they're going to like this one here. Sustainable Island State. 25 by 25 agenda. You know, they go around and they go and they pick. They pick this one here, going to sound good when we go back, you know, and we're going to tell them we're going to do this here. Oh, housing revolution. We're going to have 2,400 smart homes by the end of 5 years. That sounds good. Yeah, and people going to want that. People going to want that. So they come back with these kind of things. And then when the people merely ask them about what they have said that they're going to deliver, it's just crickets. Nothing.
Until because within they said they never believe in what they were telling the people.
And the thing about it, they come to the people with all sorts of things, you know. They come with all sorts of promises. Try at this point in time, when persons are listening to their promises, they're saying, not again. You can't fool me no more.
Well, that's what they talk about gimmicks.
I remember the last political leader of the People's Action Movement, Honorable Sean Richards said, no gimmicks, no tricks. You understand?
Yeah.
So clearly he understood what the Labour Party was about.
Yeah, that's what they're all about, gimmicks and tricks. They trick the people, and then I will tell the listening audience that the first 3 years of any Labour administration will be the hardest 3 years in your life.
Try people wouldn't have believed that had they not been facing it now. And they're facing it now.
I could tell you, I have a good while, and these two years and counting, them is the hardest 2 years in my adult life.
And one has to understand that there are many persons who would have supported the Labour Party in the last election, hoping for change, hoping for a difference, and that difference never came. They talk about themselves being the A team, and then delivering an A performance. Not one A performance in anything. The only thing they get A in is flying out. The only thing they get A in is increasing their salary. The only thing they get A in is taking fancy slogans from regional meetings and international meetings, bringing it back here and not implementing them to make sure that St. Nevis can realistically accomplish them. I like to say that they go with a regional agenda, they come back with a regional agenda without looking at a national agenda.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's Labour. And you could see, right, when I was telling you about the division, they had a water situation around the island.
Yes.
And then you could see that the Minister of Finance, for some reason, see some people in his constituency get some drum. Right? But it didn't trickle down to no other constituency. You understand?
Yes.
So that just show you that it's all man for themselves.
And clearly there are some persons in Cairn still talking about the water problems that they're having. There are persons in constituency 8 who are still talking about water problems. In fact, there are persons, I didn't even know that persons are still, at this very time, water is being locked off at a certain time across the country. And so persons have to rush and go home. And so when we look at what they have promised and what they are delivering, it's chalk and cheese.
Well, you expose the business of
Boy,
I don't say water don't lock off in the constituency 6.
But I hear the water lock off in Bird Rock too.
Yeah.
So it is a situation where we have an administration that is clearly not capable of doing the people's business. They are more concerned about doing their business than the people's business. And I do believe that when the election is called, they're going to be unpleasantly surprised. You understand? They perhaps assumed by getting the number of votes that they got in the last election that they could mammoguy the people, fool the people, and still get enough votes to secure a victory. But people are not buying into the foolery anymore.
You see, what happened is that the Labour Party depended on the votes were outside to win election. So that's why they could not vote the people in a sink, it's the people on the ground. Because it's the people from overseas is who don't put them in office. That's why they treat us the way they're treating us.
They don't care for us.
They don't care because we are not the one who they're going to be relying on heavily to go back in office.
The Labour administration, I have come to look at how they have performed over these last years, and persons are saying that they are tired. It's been 2.5 years of July. They're waiting for August to come because it's lie after lie, unfulfilled promise from unfulfilled promise. You know, the Prime Minister, not too long ago, made a presentation talking about the CBI, and in his presentation, he also said that there are going to be 100 homes built by the end of this year. People listen to that. I can't even tell you if half of them believe that. Can't even tell you about a third of them believe that. I can't even tell you about a quarter of them believe that, or 1/8 of them believe that, because even if 1/8 of the population believe that, that's 1/8 too many.
If you hear the Prime Minister going to give a national address, you could say word for word what he's going to say. Because it's just a rehearsal all the time. It's just something he got on a paper from since he get into office, and every address he just read from that paper, right? You could tell anything what you're going to say. Smart hospital, and yes, it soon come. And the Boston High School, yes, it soon come. We get in there, word for word. We've been hearing that for 2.5 years, line for line.
You know what he likes to say? Smart. So he likes smart homes,
Smart hospital,
smart schools, but all we're asking him for is a smart government, a smart administration. You understand? And the people are still lacking that. That is what they want. And I could tell you, based on the next election, I think it's going to be one about the economy. We've seen it play out in the United States. And I think that coming, whenever the election is called, is going to be one of the economy that is going to be of focus for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, because cost of living has risen. When we look at the social programs, when we look at the PAP program, previously under the last administration in which the People's Action Movement was a part of, persons who made up to, households that made up to $3,000 were able to qualify for the PAP. You know what they do? They reduce the threshold. So if you got over 2,500 now, you can't qualify.
Right.
And in addition to that, what they said they were going to do to increase it up to 1,500, they put a cap, say 600. And I think it even goes lower than the 500 in some cases.
Yes.
And so they have clearly not done what they promised, and they have given less, in my view, than what was there before.
Well, look, one thing they never promised the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
What's that?
That they were going to put down $4,000 more on their salary. They didn't promise the people that.
And that was, to me, at a time that was ill-advised. The majority of them did not serve a full 2 years as ministers.
But how much person in St. Kitts is making $4,000 a month? And these guys getting $4,000 more.
In some
more,
cases,
you know. Yeah.
because the average percentage is up to 33%.
Yes. When who ain't getting 4, they're not past 3, you know. So it's 3 something.
And this is what
more. You're talking about $48,000 and their money more year time.
And not to take, and to also take into consideration that their salaries was always higher than those persons already, the average person. So you're looking you put in more upon more in this situation and taking more and more from the people. In fact, the Labour Party likes to toot that it is the party for the poor.
Yeah.
But in fact, it seems to be the party to keep people poor.
Yeah.
The party for keeping people poor. Because when you are poor, you are reliant. You are dependent. And so you have this big government. And with this big government, you have more and more people being dependent on what the government officials say, what the representatives say. Rather, and I have always been in favor for a small government, a bigger private sector, where it is that the private sector flourishes, where persons are owners of business, they are owners of their destiny, they could create employment, and of course government still assists the most vulnerable, but we ensure that the people are given enough resources to ensure that they themselves can add to the productivity of the state. And one thing that I want to touch, because I must go into number 4 try. Number 4 is where born, bred, raised. You understand? And recently, number 4 had a Guy Fest, community festival. From since I'm a little boy, I know about Guy Fest and the community festival in number 4. Yeah. You understand? Recently, and you could put up the picture, the image number 2. Recently, there was much talk about this constituency, what you call it, Constituency 4 Fest. And what was the question that many of the constituents came, and many of them discussed it with me, is why is the Constituency 4 Fest firstly called a Constituency 4 Fest? Yeah. Reason being, when you hear the word constituency,
you think political.
You think political.
Yeah.
If you are a representative for the people in number 4, you're a representative of all the people in number 4. And so there is this Constituency 4 Fest taking place, and try to guess when it's taking place.
Competing with
the same time as the Guy Fest.
Say competing with the festival that they meet there. The community festival.
The community festival that there for years.
Yes.
I-35 try. I can remember being 5 and I see and the popular Guy Fest, you as a little boy, they got the jam.
Yeah.
The last lap.
I got any jam.
Everything.
Any jam couple times.
And you know what they said, what persons are asking me? Is this a political maneuver? Where it is that the representative ought to be for the people of constituency number 4? Supporting the community-based activities in constituency number 4? Not competing, because that is the impression.
Well, what happened? The guy tried to be relevant. Because he's missing in action, He's missing in action.
And if the image is still up, what persons came to me and said, you are in a community festival, Guy Fest, and you're promoting a Constituency 4 Fest by the teacher that you have. So if there was any assumption that there was affiliation to him or preference towards the Constituency 4 Fest, it was shown. And so persons are disappointed. This morning I listened in voice notes from a constituent in the constituency talking about what appears to him as a division.
Wow. But as I tell you guys trying to be relevant, because I hear people say that again.
So. And people in number 4, they are asking for a better representative.
Yeah, that's not him again. No.
A stronger representative, not one who just simply smiles at everything that he sees.
But I understand that even the party taking a second look at him. So.
You see, we look at his performance in the various ministries as well. You look at sports. So many times we look at the infrastructure in sports. We didn't get a chance to have the World Cup cricket played here in St. Kitts. We didn't even bid for it.
Yeah.
A lot of persons were disappointed with that.
A lack of economic opportunity.
And that's a spill-off.
Right.
Job creation.
Exactly.
Tourism boost, because people started to know
Yes.
about St. Kitts.
Yeah.
You understand?
Mhm.
Persons are going to hear about the tiny federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so, it is an economic loss, as you said.
Yeah, you talk about billions of people watching in cricket.
And then he spoke about the infrastructure and being up to date. But when you look at the infrastructure now, you see the infrastructure getting any better? You look over by the King Collins Stadium. Couple times, maybe a month ago, or even less. I took some photos there. Grass all over the place, dry.
Yeah.
Grass on the building.
Look terrible.
Grass on the building. They didn't even cut in the grass when I look at it last.
If I were the representative for that area, I would not be so ashamed, right, to have that building in that kind of condition. But you think about it again, but the representative is what, Deputy Prime Minister?
Mm-hmm. And the Deputy Prime Minister on his portfolio is the housing. And we see the housing revolution that is going to take place. 2,400 smart homes to be built in 5 years, 600 per year. We only see about 2 model homes completed. And those 2 model homes weren't even in the 2,400 count.
But you should ask them who pay for the construction of the house, you know?
That's a good question.
Because was it the company who was supposed to build the house, build the smart,
And that's a question we must ask.
we should ask them who actually built those 2 houses.
Mm-hmm. And if you look at it, the Prime Minister spoke about having 100 homes built by the end of the year, and to my surprise, he talked about CIBC.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to search and see whereby CIBC was mentioned previously, because I am of the view that when it came to the houses, it's the East Coast under this venture that he's doing. But then I hear about CIBC. So that, again, raised questions in my mind as to what is happening with the East Coast, the Housing Development Corporation. Is that still happening? And so we talk about homes because homes do things. The construction of the homes, we know persons are going to get shelter.
Yeah.
Persons are going to be able to provide shelter for their families. In addition to that, employment. Because it means that persons are going to get work. You're going to have plumbers, you're going to have contractors, you're going to have persons within the housing industry, so to speak, because you're going to need furniture.
And Mary Joan in here, somebody was telling me about truckers
Mm-hmm.
and how much of them out of business.
Hmm.
So you see, some little trucker might be able to get a few trips aggregate to deliver to them house. You see the spin-off, how much people ain't gonna touch.
And you know, Troy, even talking about that, Prime Minister came, gave a presentation. He spoke about the CBI and he spoke about the revenue collected to date for 2024 up to September. And in speaking about the CBI revenue, he said, what, $281 million was collected, as opposed to the end of year in 2023 that was 600 plus million, and as opposed to the the year before that was 600 plus million, and the one before that was about 500 plus million. And I think to myself, if that doesn't increase between September to December significantly, how is our budget going to look? Because expenditure, I'm sure, has not fallen by much. If it has, it might have increased, I don't know. You understand? But when you have such a significant drop in the CBI revenue that accounts based on him and based on looking at the public accounts for 2022, that accounts to about 60 to 70% of the revenue, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And there's nothing there in place to satisfy the lost revenue or to replace it. And so one has to ask the question, what is the budget presentation going to be like when it's completed? What is the budget debate going to be like? What is 2025 going to be like?
Are we going to cut the traveling?
Well, one would hope that the travel by the ministers will be cut, in addition to other things. But one can only hope with bated breath.
We're going to get rid of some of those useless advisors.
The advisors, that is a good question. Because we see that they are persons, and I always said that the government has the resources of the state. The government has the resources, and so they can employ the best suited persons in these positions. If you are not capable in certain positions to govern, you have the resources to bring in people. You have the resources to hire people. You understand?
Yeah, I mean, I was hearing that one day advisor said we must tighten up, buckle up, with belt a little bit more. With the amount of squeeze you may get, they still tell you, squeeze a little more. So I asking if you're asking the people them to squeeze a little more, are you going to squeeze out some of those useless advisors?
That's a good question. And if an advisor is going to say to tighten your belt a little more, you know that foreshadows rougher days ahead. I got to say rougher because you're rough right now. You understand?
Yeah.
Because you're rough right now. You're going out there and people say things rough, things hard, things difficult, things not going well.
I say rough, I don't know.
Things are not going well.
No, things. I have never seen nothing like this, I tell you, in my adult life.
It's promise after promise without any delivery.
And the thing is, it is not people who are calling out the government alone. The very same people who voted them in are making the most noise and telling them that they are not satisfied with what they are delivering.
This is one of the most unproductive administration in recent time.
Yeah.
And I do believe that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, whenever the election is called, and persons believe that the election will be called soon. Honestly, I believe that it perhaps would go down to the wire. Because these guys know that if the election is called, it will not go in their favor.
Let's take a look at the most senior minister in the administration. What is his portfolio?
Foreign affairs, trade.
He's supposed to do something with job creation or something.
Yeah, they change up a lot of things.
Development or something of that nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was there as Prime Minister for 20 years. He was the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
I think he's Minister of Investment as well.
Investment, right? For quite a while. Right? So, I find it strange that with all why he might have made a connection with people in his time as Prime Minister, we were told that investors are lined up, ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I will ask that gentleman, where are the investors that were lined up and ready to invest in this nation? I mean, if you had them lined up and what happened, they take a second look at you and realize that you are a bunch of, and then just turn away from you others. Well, tell me what is the situation?
It is simple, Troy. What they have done during the campaign, we hear it, they got the best songs. Get rid of them, get rid of them.
Yeah.
They feed people into that music. So it's in your brain. You have to get rid of them. You have to get rid of them. And then they feed you with all the promises. You're gonna get 1,500 instead of 500 for the pap. We're gonna change up the piece. We're gonna get rid of the piece. We're gonna make it better. You understand? We're gonna bring down the price of fuel. We're gonna go down to 12. You understand?
Have you ever reached 12 since then, Avis?
I can't remember you reaching 12. Maybe 12 point something. Maybe 13. But I can't really remember you reaching on 12.
And 12 and below.
No, below.
No.
You understand? And so, and it wasn't. And if
It was so cap at 12.
yeah, and if it was on the 13, it wasn't on the 13 in the first 6 months in office, as promised. Let me tell you that. And so, one has to look at them, and they say, you know, the Labour Party, they're very good when it comes to campaigning, when it comes to saying anything, because you know when we sit, you know, as a party, we think about what can we really deliver for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis? It's not about just saying things for saying its sake.
Slogans. That's
And
what
slogans.
the Labour Party win and slogans.
We try to think about what can we do for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis realistically.
Yeah.
And how can we build St. Kitts and Nevis not just for today, but for tomorrow?
Yeah.
And the proof is in the pudding. When you look at the People's Action Movement in the past, we look at the accomplishment of Sir Kennedy Simmons, first Prime Minister, only living national hero. When we look at what he has done and his administration, we look at Dame Constance Mitchell. When you look at those persons in the past, we talk about building a road to nowhere. That is now, we have a phone call. We have a phone call. Yes. Caller, you live?
Good night, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad. Mr. Gumbs,
Yes.
we in this country that unfortunate. And we going to take the bull by the hand and do the right thing. You understand?
Yes.
Because this thing looking very challenging for this very country. Now my Indian friends, they never put that there. They're going through it, big way, big way. And people taking at them to come and put all kind of thing on the people's toes when they start the season. That be right. Disrespecting the people. And you know, that these people, we as Kiddishan got a plan for them to come and do business and more than that. To strengthen big cruise destination. And you look like these vagabonds, look like the one on them. People come to cover the poor instead of trying to come and live with the people and strengthen the bond that Philip lived there, keep Philip lived there. With the Indians and unity. You look like the one Ashita. All kind of boastiness. And the poor. You got people who don't know nothing all about the poor. Apartado. One man supposed to be down there. The boy Bell from Sandy Point. He should be running the guns and the poor. That people who aim at them thing telling he what to do. Bell there from the inception of Matalan. I am all from the inception of Matalan. What the hell they could come telling me? Don't talk in Sindex. A project where I Bell. God bless Kennedy Simon Builder. God bless Dr. Kennedy Simon Builder. And then the damn phone. Me don't want to abuse nobody. But this country is going to make him money one slam down. Alive. The poor land of you. It will make him money. And who I like it about that? Are you come violent? Are you coming guns? Or you coming to? That's all I got to say. Azard.
Yes.
Focus.
Thank you.
And do the right thing. Do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And try to talk to represent the people in the country. That people handful. Yeah?
Yeah.
People handful with problems. Have a killer thing in this country again. Dr. Harris eliminated the team unity and all of a sudden poverty in every pocket of the country again. Have a good night, Azard. This is Jamdong, eh?
Thank you, Jamdong. Thank you for your contribution.
Let's back that boy and back down in Sinket.
Thank you for your...
Let's back that boy not gonna back down in this country. Have a good night.
Thank you, Jamdong. Have a good night as well. Jamdong is very passionate about his country and where the country is heading. In fact, many persons are passionate like Jamdong, though they may not call into the radio program because of what is happening in St. Kitts and Nevis and under this administration. An administration that has shown that it has no clue how to govern.
As I was speaking about, when we sit in a meeting, what we discuss,
Yes.
how to better the life
Mm-hmm.
and the ordinary man and woman.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at early childhood.
Yes.
What impact that is having today with especially the minimum wage owners, how much help they get from the early childhood,
Yeah.
right? That was PAM.
We look at the self program,
That
PAM
was
again.
PAM.
We look at the CBI, that's PAM again.
When you think about building people, we start something they used to call youth skill, to build people. You know, once ago, a woman get pregnant working in a civil service. She get punished for that while losing she job. While the man will be there, get away scot-free. Right? That was PAM who changed these things.
Yeah.
When you think about severance pay, you hear Labour Party tell the Labour Party just a lot of talk. They're good at winning election, whosoever thing, but not delivering for the people. You hear about, imagine they're going to tell you that they are a working party for the working class. And so it's PAM who deliver legislation that truly and make a difference in the life of working class people. It's the PAM who do it, you know. The People's Action Movement. And that is the reason why I always say, right, that it takes one PAM to equate to a whole of labor. A whole life of labor. One PAM will equate to that.
And clearly the Labour administration in office now, I can think of many things that they have done, well, that they have, many of the promises that they have kept. I can't think of them, and I don't think many persons out there could think of any, or many.
Anything that this administration put a hand to, it goes salt. It's sour. Let's take a look at the 25 by 25. You realize now, I see they had a large of some Tabasco pepper thing.
Yes.
Now they're talking about exporting. And the 25 by 25 was designed to bring down the import. Now they're talking about export. So it clearly shows that it's a distraction from the failure of the 25 by 25.
I was the minister of that, of agriculture.
The guy who is missing in action.
MIA?
Yes. He's missing in action.
The one that the people of constituency number 4 now regret.
I say never them again.
Correct. And so when we look again at the administration and what they have failed to do, people are sad, they are worried, because they are saying that this administration has not performed. They thought that this administration would have been better. They thought that it'll be better with Labour, when in fact it's just bitter with Labour. Many people are bitter. Many persons are unsatisfied about what they have done and the way they have governed.
We didn't get the memo. Better with Labour mean better for the Labour ministers.
It's true.
And the advisors and their friends, the big Labour. And we, the ordinary people, didn't get the memo. That's what better with Labour is about.
That's why you see so much travel.
Yeah.
That's why you see the increase.
They're living
in
the
salary.
best life.
In fact, I feel that on August 2022, St. and Nevis went to elect the new royal family. They went to elect the new royal family. Persons who are there to govern, rule as though they're not part of the masses, but on elevated platforms.
Yeah, they forget what I feel like to be ordinary. If you look at them, all of them have to adjust the belt. And not pull it in, you know, they have to slacken the belt.
They have to expand their wardrobe, not just in variety, but in size.
You look at them and you see. Yeah, they're telling us to pull in our belt while they're slackening the belt. The belly drop over the pants.
We have another call. Caller, you're live on Unfiltered. Hello, good day, you're live. Good evening, you're live and unfiltered.
Hi, good evening, folks.
Good evening.
I just want to chime in on one thing. I saw on social media that you are people speculating with one of the big advisors for Labour Party. I think it's Ellen Borough was talking. And he was saying that austerity measures might be put in place for the next 3 years, and the citizens will be to tighten themselves because things are going to get rough and whatnot in the next 2 years. So I wonder, so if things don't get rough and we normal folks will take our bells, well, how come ministers didn't take the bells when they up the salary?
That's a
So
good.
if that can leave a bit, leave them stop and tighten their belts and put austerity measures in place as it relates to them. Why is it only common folk now have to be the ones tightening their belts? With all inflation going on in the economy, why are we getting for the mismanagement of the economy? It is so strange that if the deputy Arnold Douglas Labour, he was wrong. The economy was down. The economy was in a hole. They actually froze salaries for government workers, froze everything, still can't even buy resources under the Douglas-led administration. He has the unity administration, managing double salary, 4, 5 years in double salary, things trickling down, everybody feeling good. And then all of a sudden now, and Labour again, things down again. Something is fundamentally wrong with these people in terms of governing and moving the economy forward. Because I don't understand now that the Jews in office now and the economy going down. So there's some causation or correlation going on here. Once Labour is in party, the economy goes down. Put somebody else with more thoughtful policies in power, and you see the economy moving forward. The opposite, they are still building off the back of what Prime Minister Simon put in place. Even the government, because you realize, if you go to a certain topic, they're going to say, it's not for the last 7 years, except for tourism. You never hear them say nothing about tourism when you come around being boosted. Because grants perform. And in the second period views, look at that, look at the 514 last week. So you understand that they just keep, they're trying to copy what others did, but they just keep fumbling. Simple things they keep fumbling. And we need to take it into consideration as citizens of the country. We are going to have some hardships coming up. That means that the salary this income, like, because the modern state government can't help the people in right now. They're in a position to help. So hardships coming. Good night. That's my message.
Thank you so much. Your contribution was very well taken in. In fact, I have to agree with much what you have said. Do we have any callers at this time? Okay. Troy, that was a mouthful. We have another caller. You're live on Unfiltered. Caller. Good evening.
Good evening, man.
Yes.
Good evening, man. How you doing, man?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. I wanted to take a moment 2 minutes of your time and put out a statement on behalf of myself, because of an incident that happened recently, and I just want the whole people of St. News to hear my voice and the other world. I want to introduce myself again. My name is Burl Jones, and I'm from Patton Ground Village. And I put up a post on a thread update concerning support Kamala Harris in the United States, and a particular individual in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, primarily on the St. side, tapped me viciously, calling me out my names, and I totally was appalled by that attack. That individual, that person hear my voice tonight, I wanted to know that I am fully capable of defending myself and defending my opinions and my views politically, whether it may be in St. Nevis politics or in politics in America. I'm a dual citizen of both places,
contribute to society there. I built a house in the village of Cotton Ground single-handedly from my own hard work with no help and with no loan from any banks. That's the fruits of my hard labor. And just as well I contribute to the society in St. Kitts and Nevis, I contribute to the society in America for years, both places. I have individuals who have the courage to come on the airways in St. Kitts and Nevis and encourage the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis to stand up against those, you know, all of those things that you're talking about on the radio tonight. The disappointments of our own leaders selling out the place, mismanaging our monies, the corruption in the place of St. Kitts and Nevis, the corruption we cannot finish, man. We are going around in circles. Things that I'm hearing people are still asking for today. I, as a little boy, when I migrated out of Nevis in 1985, back then, we are asking for the same things that we are asking for now. We need some new leaders in St. Kitts and Nevis that can shake up the political scene there. You see how Trump got America? I'm putting it out there to the world. I am not a Trump supporter, and nobody can impose his way and his agenda on me. I voted for Kamala Harris in the state of North Carolina, and that is my personal right. And my views and my opinions, that's my personal right. We have to be mature enough to respect each other's views and opinions when it comes to this political stuff. Nobody in St. Kitts and Nevis is going to attack me and think that I'm not going to defend myself. I am fully capable of responding to anybody, whether it be the Premier in Nevis or the Prime Minister in St. Kitts. I asked them to remove that ban clause from around us. All the people you see out here in the diaspora who deserve to come home and run for politics. Remove that shackles from around us, and you will see how quick I've come home and run for politics in my own country. I call on the Prime Minister to get back in that Parliament and take another look at that ban clause. Every citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis have the right to run for politics in their own country. We should not be just used as voters. We should have the full rights of a citizen. That's why we are called citizens. We out here in the diaspora should not be just flying home on all these planes, and those politicians should not be taking money, especially, and we don't know where they're getting that money, but them planes that they be filling up all the time, bringing people home to vote for elections, just as well as they can do that, man. If I have the right to come home and vote, I should have the right to come home and run for politics. Otherwise, we have like this discrimination. You cannot discriminate against a citizen. If somebody is a citizen, they are a citizen, and they should have the full rights of being a citizen. This stuff about pledging allegiance to a foreign country, that is some BS. So you want to tell me only the rich people, the upper class, the elite, only those type of people could come into the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis and run for politics?
Yeah, but
the type of stuff that they create. Yeah, I know you got to wrap up, but just give me one more minute, man. 30
no problem.
seconds.
Mm-hmm.
The type of society we are breeding in St. Kitts and Nevis is going to spill over. Somebody is going to create there. You see what's going on in America? And I call on Dr. Drew, man, to take the American election as an example. Do not take your upperness lightly, and don't take the former leader lightly. I'm a middle-of-the-road person. I don't care who runs St. Kitts and Nevis. I have aspirations to come back home and contribute politically, but I can't get it done because of a stigma around me and other people that's out here. I am not the only person out here in the diaspora that can come back and contribute to our own country called St. Kitts and Nevis. And I call on the Prime Minister to get into Parliament and remove that stigma they call the Grand Clause. Let us not just be voters. Let us come back and also be parliamentarians.
Okay, thank you.
Man, you have a good night. You have a good night, man.
Have a good night as well.
Enough to respect.
Okay. Thank you so much, Burl. We have any more calls at this time? Okay. Yes, Troy?
Yeah, it's a lot. I do care about who caller who running St. Kitts and Nevis, because on one hand you have people who think about the interests of the ordinary people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and on the other hand you have people who think about their own interests. So I do care about who run St. Kitts and Nevis. And I just speak about the Brian clause, caller. If you ban in the federation, I think you should be able to run if you are not a dual citizen. I think the dual citizen issue is a different issue to the Brian clause. I think it's something different. Yeah.
So at this point in time, I know we are perhaps
out of time.
winding down. What time is it now?
Well, I can't tell time. I don't want to say that we are out of time.
No. So, I just want to look at image 3. Image number 3. So, image 3 should be a photograph of myself and Mrs. Johnson from constituency number 4, one of the eldest persons in our constituency. Last month we celebrated the Elderly Month in the Federation, and as part of my own giving back, I looked at persons over the age of 80, and today I distributed some care baskets to those individuals. I still have some more to do, and just recognizing those persons over the age of 80, because our elders are very important.
Golden, they are golden.
They build the foundation in which we are now standing, and so they cannot we ought not take them for granted. And so it's good to show them appreciation in whatever way. And so I say, thank you to them for what they have done for us. Because of them, we are here enjoying St. Kitts and Nevis. And so, thank you to them. Again, I want to say to persons who have listened to the show this evening, thank you for your support. Thank you for your comments. We see it on the Facebook, we see them on the YouTube. Your comments are very important. This has been the 6th episode of Unfiltered. The first time I've had a guest, Troy Flanders.
Oh,
yes. Yes. And I just want to say to those persons out there, we're going to take a short break from Unfiltered, just a 2-episode break, 2-week break, and then we'll get back in December. We're going to really talk about the budget and what's happening, and so it's not see you, not a goodbye, but it's more of a see you later. In terms of taking a short break from the program and then coming back in December. So, Unfiltered, we have the conversation, and in December it's going to be really interesting because, around December is when we're going to talk about the budget. Yeah. So, I want to thank those persons who continue to listen. In fact, I want to thank those persons who continue to give their voice and ensure that, we all contribute to St. Kitts and Nevis, to those persons who come to me from time to time and whisper things to me about what is happening. I appreciate you. And for me, I will do what I can to lend my voice and to give my support to my people as best as can. So thank you so much. Troy, thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you, Thomas.
No problem.
Oh, I don't run by.
views and opinions expressed in this program were solely those of the participant or caller and do not reflect the views of winnfm 98.9. winnfm reserves the right to disconnect any caller who infringes the law or offends the right of any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who, in winnfm's considered opinion, is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air.